Hey, it's Amethyst Virgo. I'm here with your video for understanding Pisces energy. All right, so firstly, Pisces is a water sign, dealing with the emotions. Pisces is a mutable sign. Okay, Pisces is one of the most feminine most feminine sign of the zodiac. That does not mean that everyone who's a Pisces is a feminine person or very feminine, or if they're a man, they're feminine. It does mean that there's often, they're not as aggressive, or Pisces energy people, rather male or female, are not really they're more in tune with themselves internally. They're more about channeling what they have inward than what's going on outward. That's what that means. Also, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So the interesting thing about that is, like, if you look at the signs consecutively, it's like all these signs go in order, and then you have Pisces at the end, which is almost like, so it's like every sign has visited, and then you have Pisces, which is like this accumulation of all those experiences, which is why Pisces is so, how do I say this? Pisces is very spiritual. Pisces is very evolved. Now, obviously, you can have an unevolved Pisces person or Pisces energy person, because people have free will and people make decisions to better themselves or not better themselves. But Pisces energy is very interesting because it's almost like, after all these other signs that are maybe aggressive, or signs that are about money, or signs that are more about partnership, Pisces is more just internal. They're not about other people. Now, they are emotional. I mean, they can be very compassionate, but for the most part, Pisces is a very internal sign, okay? All right, so let's get started, okay? So Pisces Sun person. Do I know Pisces? I know Pisces energy pretty well, okay? So Pisces Sun are very quiet, can be very quiet people at first. I think there are similarities between Pisces and their opposite sign Virgo, okay? They have a similarity there, where like people really have to dig underneath to really find out what drives this Pisces, what drives this Virgo, but there is something there. Pisces Sun, typically they have a lot of talents. Their talents are usually very creative. Now, do all of them? No, but I think it's interesting when you put a Pisces person to a project, what they come up with. They're visionaries. They can visualize things. A lot of them can draw. There are many of them who can write poetry, or they make music, or they make something, they create something, okay? And because Pisces is so introverted at times, they have time to get to know themselves. They have time to actually understand what they're good at, and they practice it. These are signs that can be okay being by themselves for long periods of time. People who have a lot of 12th house energy, you have your birth chart, you might relate on some level to Pisces. If you have planets in your 12th house, you can relate sometimes to that Pisces energy. Okay, introverted but channeled energy if a person channels it correctly. So Pisces Sun, they are compassionate. These do tend to be people who are, their personal connections are important to them, and even more so where Scorpio cares about their family, Cancer cares about their family and their comfort and their friends. Scorpio cares more about their family and their self to a certain extent. Pisces is more encompassing, where they love everyone. There's a lot of compassion. These are people who like to do good for the world and things of that nature. So your Pisces Sun person, they connect really well to other people. They're compassionate, so most of them. There's a sensitivity to them, though. And don't think, this doesn't mean they're all sweet, okay? What you have to understand about Pisces, though, is underneath that, it's a water sign. Emotion is a strong thing. So even though, they might come across as very introverted at times, or they might come across as sweet and innocent, there's a side to Pisces that can be very vengeful and very angry if they're done wrong, because they are very sensitive, okay? So that's what you have to understand about Pisces Sun. This does not mean you can do, oh, they're compassionate, I'm going to do whatever I want to a Pisces person. No, because they come across as so introverted, and because they're not outwardly mean sometimes, you need to watch your back, because they're the type that, like, you won't even see it coming when they try to, when they come at you because you've done something to harm or hurt them, okay? So I just want us to understand every sign has its pros and cons. I think sometimes people get caught up in these stereotypes about signs, but not understanding what these things actually mean. Now, the Pisces Moon person, what does that mean? The Pisces Moon person, if a Pisces person is not, let me say this. If you're a Pisces Moon person, but all your other signs are not Pisces or anything related to it, you will be extra sensitive, but people might not outwardly see it. People might have to either do something to offend you or hurt you in some way for you to actually show that side of yourself, because it's buried deep within. Moon and Pisces people are very sensitive. They're giving, though. They love to help other people. They feel other people's situation an extension of their own. However, these are people who can feel very deeply. They care what other people think about them. They care what other people do to them. This is not a very nonchalant sign. It's just going to be like, you know, let's think about Moon and Sagittarius. If you offend a Moon Sagittarius person, they might just say something to you, just like they might just go off on you, right? Like they're just mad. Like how, you know, Moon and Pisces person is going to internalize that first before they express it. They actually will feel the pain or feel it first, which can lead to resentment. Where Sagittarius Moon or Sagittarius energy is going to go straight out and say, what did you just do? Aries energy can do that as well. You know, I'm sure there's other signs too that can do that, but these are the top ones that come to mind. Pisces Moon is very sensitive, though. You have to just, you know, watch that if you're dealing with a Moon or Pisces person, because if they're like an Aries and a Leo rising and they have all these like extroverted, you know, placements and they're very outgoing, you have to understand, though, the Moon and Pisces person can easily be offended or hurt, you know, if they're done wrong. Okay. Another thing about Moon and Pisces people is that they want to connect to other people on a deeper level. Okay, so they're not as self-serving as some other signs. Sometimes we think of the Moon and it's just about how you feel, it's just you, but actually Moon and Pisces is one where like they actually care about other people, and that's why they take it so hard when they're offended, when they're hurt, when they're harmed or some way by other people. Okay, now your Pisces rising people, what does that look like? All right, so your rising, it is your reputation, how other people view you. All right, Pisces rising person is going to come across, they can also, here's the thing about Pisces can be a little eccentric. Pisces and Aquarius can sometimes come across as eccentric. Aquarius more so, Pisces more so. This person's going to have something unique about them. They dress in an interesting way. You know, they present themselves in a way that's just very artistic and very like, you know, spiritual, or there's just something about many Pisces people where they just have this aura of just like peace, or this aura of just like uniqueness somehow, where they dress, the way they present themselves, and they're not afraid of that. Your Pisces rising people are usually, you know, when you think of that person first, like you're like a Pisces rising person, the first thing that comes to mind is you're going to feel like this is a person you can count on. This is a person who is someone who will listen to you. It's not a superficial type of person, though. Here's the thing with Pisces, Sun and rising, I would say. Pisces is immutable water. Mutable water can lead some people to think in Pisces can be fake. And the reason they say that is because, like, wait a minute, why are you just said this, now you're doing this? What is going on? Like, what is really, and because Pisces sometimes doesn't come on super strong in the first place, it can lead some people to be like, who are you really? So Pisces rising people, sometimes there's this feeling that you don't really quite know them, or this feeling like, well, are they really into this or are they not? You know, there could be kind of this feeling of like not really being able to get a gauge on like who this person really is. But Pisces rising people in general, they're usually someone that you first think of, they're good at something. There's something that they have a hobby or talent that they share with other people. Pisces people, Pisces rising especially, can be shy as well and introverted, but they kind of turn the light on when you interest them, when you want to know more. You have to dig deep with Pisces. Dig deep and you'll find a lot. It's similar to Virgo, even though Virgo's an earth sign. Dig deep and you'll find a lot with Pisces rising people. You know, they come across as very compassionate, and sometimes it just feels like, oh, they're just a nice person, but you know, then once you let them in, you'll know more about what they actually are interested in, what they actually can do, how they actually come across. Now again, what I say, water signs, it's an emotion. No matter how nice someone is, there's always the flip side. You have to understand that, right? The flip side to emotion is being angry. The flip side to positive emotion is negative emotion. So these people, sometimes Pisces energy people, can be petty in some ways because they're deeply hurt. They're deeply hurt. They're not like some signs like, oh, bye, forget you. They're going to internalize that, which makes it a little bit more more something you should worry about if you offend a Pisces person, because some people will assume, oh, they're nice, they're not extroverted, they're pushovers, but no, they can do some damage if you harm them to some extent. And you know, especially if they have other placements that make them someone who's going to stand up for themselves, not going to let you do what you want to do. Next, Mercury in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces channels everything. So Mercury, how you learn, your thoughts, how you communicate. Mercury and Pisces people, everything is about how they feel. So these are going to be people who, even if they don't have Pisces in other placements, are very, very fluid in sharing with you how they feel, what their thoughts are. They're not really going on facts. They learn through how they experience things. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're learning from how they feel. They're very much in tune with how they go about their life is based on how they feel about what happened, or what they, you know, how a subject pertains to them. Mercury and Pisces people, also the way they speak, they might be very soft-spoken. All right, these might be people who aren't really loud. At the same time, there's a poetic, you know, a poetic vibe to the way they speak. These are people who kind of channel, there's some type of like draw to them when you listen to them, you know, listen to them talk. These are also really good listeners because they're not like a Gemini. Mercury and Gemini person, you're like, wow, you're listening to me, you know all this stuff, you can give me advice. Mercury and Pisces, you actually feel like this person is actually empathizing with you. They actually care about what you're going through, okay? A lot of water signs can do that same thing. It's not just Pisces. Now we go to Venus and Pisces. All right, so Venus is the planet of love. You're valuing possessions and things of that nature, but mostly love, right? Venus and Pisces is the hopeless romantic, and this can go either way. The hopeless romantic who is just in love with love, they're going to stay in love. It's very much in their head, this fantasy, like, I'm in love and love is great and this person loves me and I love them, it's going to be great. Or you're delusional Venus and Pisces person who is not really committed. They create a fantasy in their head and they go on that fantasy until one day they realize, wait a minute, why isn't this working? And it's because they're not dealing with reality. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is a planet that deals with like our, you know, illusions and dreams and, you know, things that are not really tangible. All right. Now, again, there's positive Neptune, but if you are too far in and you're not looking at it realistically, that can be a problem with the Venus and Pisces placement. This is a person who, it can be frustrating for others in relationships with a Venus and Pisces person because you want to, let's say there's a problem in your relationship and you want to talk about it. It can be sometimes hard for Venus and Pisces to admit there's a problem in the relationship. They don't want to let go. And sometimes this can lead a Venus and Pisces person to being in a bad relationship or a series of bad relationships because they don't want to let go. They create a fantasy in their head of what love is or what it's supposed to be or what the relationship is. And they're not really seeing things through, this is the phrase, they see things through rose-colored glasses. Now, if you have an evolved person who's Venus and Pisces, it can be great because they can be romantic. And this is a person who believes in love. Okay, it can be positive. It just depends on the individual. Next, we have Mars in Pisces. Interesting placement. So Mars is the planet of aggression, dominance, you know, passion, intimacy in some cases. Mars is very masculine. Venus is feminine. Mars is masculine. But Pisces is a feminine sign. And I say that again. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like if someone's like, wait, but I'm a man. What do you mean feminine? It doesn't mean you're effeminate. It doesn't mean you're like a woman, but you might be a man. If you're a man with a lot of Pisces energy, you can relate to women sometimes in a better way than a man who doesn't have a lot of Pisces energy, right? You're a man who might just be more in tune with your spiritualism or your talents within. You're not really maybe as focused as without. Or if you're a man with a lot of Pisces energy, yes, you're a man with a lot of Pisces energy or Cancer energy, you're going to relate to women a lot in some way, especially Cancer energy, like relating to women or your mother. You know, you're going to relate to women. That can be, you know, that can be good in some instances because you're able to tap into the, you know, the female psyche in a way that maybe some other men can't. So, but here's where we go. Mars and Pisces. Wow. So here's the problem. Pisces can sometimes be inactive. Pisces is a daydreamer. Pisces has all these imaginative thoughts, and Pisces is a dreamer, and Pisces sees things and wants to beautify them. You know, Pisces can give a lot to the world. You know, they can create a lot of things for others to enjoy, right? Mars is a planet of go, 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 do it. So what you have here is a person whose drive is based on how they feel, primarily, point blank. Their drive is based on how they feel. So they can go either way, meaning Mars and Pisces person might not always be take initiative. They might wait for someone else because Pisces might not care. Pisces in their own head, they're like, okay, well, that doesn't matter to me. So sometimes it can lead to them being pushed or pulled in one direction because of what others think. But sometimes Pisces doesn't care. They care about what they care about. You know, they might not care about what other people care about. So some people can view it as like, oh, you're being passive, or you don't care enough. But sometimes they focus on what they want to focus on. So I think the Mars in Pisces placement can be good for people who are in maybe a certain field. If they're in some type of entertainment field or something where they have to create something, or if they're a musician or something of that nature, because you can do things at your own pace. Mars and Pisces, but when it comes to those two that placement in Mars, you just have to be careful with being too complacent, with not taking enough drive, with not being aggressive enough in situations, which calls for you to kind of wake up out of that slumber and really just go for it and do what you need to do. All right, so if you like this video, please hit the like button. Also be sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel.